Now, Hong Kong people are to run Hong Kong. That is the promise, and that is the unshakable destiny.
What I most remember is a real sense of sadness at leaving what I then thought correctly was the best job I'd ever had in my life. And I think there was a recognition that even though we hadn't done a perfect job, we'd done a pretty good job. One of the things I've always felt is that Beijing has always been better at repeating the mantra of one country, two systems than actually trying to understand what the Hong Kong system is and what it should be doing treaty-bound to sustain it. I guess my biggest worry was always that Hong Kong would simply become the richest city in China. A reason why it hasn't done that is because there's a really profound sense of citizenship in Hong Kong. It's not un-Chinese. And people like Joshua Wong in his generation, Anson Chan in hers, are not in any sense un-Chinese, but they're Chinese with specific characteristics and a belief in the relationship between pluralism, rule of law, and prosperity.
People here, they want true, free and fair elections in 2017.
I think one of the consequences of our refusal to take a strong line on breaches of the spirit and indeed occasionally the letter of the joint declaration. I don't go as far as the Taiwanese, who I think have counted 160 or 170 breaches, which seems to me to be overdoing it. But that the joint declaration has been breached, I've no doubt at all. And occasionally it's been so outrageously breached, for example, the abductions of the booksellers, that a British minister and the British government have tut-tutted loudly. But on the whole, we've continued to operate under the delusion that unless you bow low enough, you'll never do any business in China. And the evidence for that is, to put it mildly, thin on the ground. I'm terrifically in favour of the Chinese economy continuing to do well, but I don't think that it helps China's footprint in the world when it's plainly playing by different rules to other people. So return the issue to Hong Kong. Do the Chinese keep their word? It's going to be a really big issue in the 21st century.
What is their ultimate game plan? We're in a 50-year period, 20 years into a 50-year
period. The ultimate game plan should be that in 2047, Hong Kong still has the autonomy that it was promised in the joint declaration in 1984-85, that it still has the rule of law, that it still has an independent judiciary, that it still has journalists who can write freely about what's happening, not least as a result preventing the development of corruption in Hong Kong. Whether it will be delivered will, of course, be a test for China. And I think this is one reason why the rest of the world should watch what happens in Hong Kong very carefully.